A long wait for Joe Biden ended as he took the oath of office as the President of the United States. However, the inauguration was unlike any other due to the massive security blanket as well as the pandemic. Here are all the highlights.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is sworn in as the 46th President of America in a ceremony that was conspicuously devoid of grandeur.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
A ceremony reflective of the troubled times his country is in. Biden took oath on his 127-year-old family Bible.
I, Kamala Harris, solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies.
Before him, Kamala Harris took oath, becoming the first woman, the first Indian American, and the first black to become the American Vice President. In attendance were past presidents, Barack Obama and Bill Clinton from among the Democrats and George W. Bush from among the Republicans, a sign of America returning to continuity. One name missing, Donald Trump, a more troubling sign of the divide within. Joe Biden realizes the challenge ahead. His inaugural speech was a call to unity.
Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause.
A point he hammered on and on.
Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did.
Biden also listed the other challenges. The COVID pandemic, the biggest one.
We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation. And I promise you this, as the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. We will get through this together.
And the financial crisis triggered by the pandemic. Joe Biden has a job to do. Build bridges. American unity is his KRA. On Wednesday, Biden vowed to do just that, heal old wounds.
Together, we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness.
Bureau Report, India Today.
So that was a brief report on the highlights of the swearing-in ceremony, of the inauguration ceremony that happened in Washington, D.C. I want to take this across now to Pratiksha Gildeyal. She's joining us live from Washington, D.C. and she's been with us through the course of our coverage from the U.S. election. So Pratiksha, good evening. It's finally done. Joe Biden is the President of the United States. And now really begins the challenges, the task ahead for him. The road isn't an easy one.
Absolutely, Akshita. The transfer of power has happened peacefully, we can say now. Joe Biden is now President Biden, and President Donald Trump is former President Donald Trump now. So what a momentous day here in America. Now, Joe Biden, in his inaugural speech, touched upon, as we were saying in that report, so many points that are afflicting America at the moment. The one thing that really stood out for me was his reference pretty early on in his speech about how democracy is fragile and how in this hour democracy has prevailed. Now, he did not name Donald Trump directly, but it was very obviously a reference to the fact that his predecessor has tried to overturn a democratic election for the past couple of months in this aggressive vitriolic campaign of misinformation, where he's been claiming that the election was somehow rigged in favor of Joe Biden. And these have been very stressful, very tense moments in America last couple of months, especially for Mr. Biden. Today, you could almost hear a sigh of relief in his voice when he announced from that podium, democracy has prevailed.
You know, there was a sense of relief. They were all smiles. Definitely seemed that they were a lot more relaxed. But I think what was also felt largely, Pratiksha, was the absence of Donald Trump. You know, unprecedented that the president, the former president at least, the outgoing president, isn't there to see his successor through. And that itself speaks volumes of what a tumultuous few months it's been.
Absolutely. I mean, nothing about Donald Trump's presidency, or let me say very few things about Donald Trump's presidency have been normal. And why should it be any different just as he leaves office? He decided he will not attend the ceremony. He had announced that a few weeks ago, just after the Capitol siege. But having said that, I don't think Joe Biden regretted Mr. Trump's decision at all. He had actually made it very clear when a member of the press asked him a few weeks ago, what do you think about this decision? And Mr. Biden was like, well, this is one of the few things we agree on. So he did not really want him to come either. But of course, Vice President, now former Vice President Mike Pence was there, who chose to be at Mr. Biden's inaugural ceremony rather than attend his own boss, Mr. Trump's farewell ceremony at Joint Base Andrews, the Air Force base from where he took off to go and to go to his resort in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And also there were other, just like our report was saying earlier, there were other dignitaries present from across the political divide, Democrats and Republicans, with 3 former presidents, with members of the Congress, senators, congressmen, and also members of the Supreme Court. So Donald Trump may not have been there, but there were other dignitaries who were there to show their support to Mr. Biden, and that would have meant a lot to him.
And, you know, that is the definition of a democracy. That when it comes to the result and this kind of a historic moment, Democrats, Republicans, everyone joins hands. That definition clearly lost on Donald Trump. Pratiksha, appreciate you joining us as always this morning on First Up. The optics of Biden swearing in his inauguration, it was quietly serene and also joyous in a sense. But also what we saw was that it was very, very respectful. Biden as well as Harris were dressed to, in fact, the occasion. They were dressed to reassure that their administration would really serve all of America. Let's break down for you their choice of designers behind the inauguration outfits and what really it might signal about their term ahead.
A new dawn in America, and with the message of unity and healing, on Inauguration Day, fashion made a powerful statement. US President Joe Biden, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris presented an all-American image. Biden was dressed in a Ralph Lauren suit. Dr. Jill Biden was in a teal ensemble by a budding female New York designer, Markarian.
Kamala Harris, solemnly swear
that I will support.
Kamala Harris was radiant in purple in Christopher John Rogers, a young black designer. And Doug Emhoff too chose Ralph Lauren. Former First Ladies doubled down on American design too. Hillary Clinton also wore Ralph Lauren, and Michelle Obama stood tall in a maroon Sergio Hudson jumpsuit with a statement gold belt. The Great American theme was also carried on by the performers at the inauguration. Lady Gaga in red, Jennifer Lopez in white, and Garth Brooks in blue embodied the colors of the US flag. Gaga's gold dove with olive branch brooch was the center of attention. Fittingly, Melania Trump departed her role as First Lady of the United States in all black, and her favorite brands, none of them American, jacket by Chanel, dress by Dolce & Gabbana, and shoes by Christian Louboutin. Bureau Report, India Today.
So for us here in India, we all focused a lot also on Kamala Harris. She scripted history by becoming the first woman, first black and first South Asian American to become the Vice President of the United States of America. And her ancestral village in Tamil Nadu, it's called Tulasendrapuram, they celebrated with loud cheers, with applause and even crackers as she took oath.
I, Kamala Devi Harris, do solemnly swear
I, Kamala Devi Harris, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of
History made. Kamala Harris becomes the first woman of South Asian descent to become Vice President of United States. Back in her native village in Tamil Nadu's Tulasendrapuram, the villagers couldn't hold their excitement.
Tulasendrapuram village in Tamil Nadu is witnessing a historic moment. A young lady from here, from this very village, who has roots embedded in this village, is taking oath as the Vice President of the United States of America. And you can see the celebration. The people of this village are celebrating. How does it feel to see Kamala Harris taking oath as a deputy or the Vice President?
I am more excited. The entire village is excited. Our one of family member become a Vice President, first woman Vice President. This will create a good relationship between the US and India.
All through the swearing-in ceremony, the village was glued to the television screen as Kamala took her oath. The villagers are now looking forward to see her at work. They expect a more India-friendly White House now that Kamala is there.
We all, each and every house, we are very happy to note that a girl from this village has become the Vice President of America. So it is the Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. This is the entire world is one family. So the entire family means now they have to take care of both the countries, America and as well as India. That is what we can expect.
Whether the Joe Biden administration will be more sympathetic to India's concerns than the Trump government is a matter of conjecture. For now, Tulasendrapuram is basking in Kamala's glory. With Gopi Krishnan Unnithan in Tulasendrapuram, Bureau Report, India Today.
So Joe Biden's inauguration has meant that Trump has exited the White House. It's been an unceremonious exit for him. He's become the only American president to be impeached twice, the only American president to have his social media handles all suspended. He said, however, that he'll be back in some form. So what really can it be? We explore in this report.
Now, as I prepare to hand power over to a new administration at noon on Wednesday, I want you to know that the movement we started is only just beginning.
Donald Trump walks out of White House a sore loser. His legacy diminished by his refusal to accept the people's verdict and a failed coup bid. No formal handover of the baton. When Biden takes charge, he will be at his resort in Florida. Trump's final week in office mirrored his tumultuous reign. In his final act of presidency, Trump pardoned 70 people and commuted sentences of another 73. The most notable names were of his former aide, Steve Bannon, accused of misuse of funds, and fundraiser Elliot Broidy. But many others were those convicted in the crimes related to the Russian interference of the 2016 presidential elections. Trump, however, did not pardon himself or his family or anyone involved in the raid on Capitol Hill. As president, Trump rewrote established norms. He scrapped the Iran nuke deal, cancelled the climate pact, but broke new ground in reaching out to North Korea. He waged a tariff war with China and, most importantly, rebuilt American economy. But Trump probably will be remembered for his biggest failings. His administration failed to control the COVID pandemic. The world's biggest superpower found itself helpless against the virus, recording highest deaths across the world. He leaves the country divided like never before. Trump's presidential career crashed after his supporters marched to the US Capitol to prevent Joe Biden's confirmation as president, an insurrection that led to his second impeachment.
The last time the Senate convened, we had just reclaimed the Capitol from violent criminals who tried to stop Congress from doing our duty. The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people. And they tried to use fear and violence to stop a specific proceeding of the first branch of the federal government, which they did not like.
The raid on Capitol has made Trump unpopular with the Republican Party. If he were to bid for presidency again, and that is a big if, he might have to float a new party. All that could come a cropper if the Senate finds him guilty in its trial following his impeachment. He could be disbarred from holding office forever. Bureau Report, India Today.
Welcome back. Let's tell you what's happening on the farmers' protest. 10 rounds of talks have taken place so far. The latest was yesterday, and there seems to be some hope of a breakthrough in the dialogue between the protesting farmers and the centre to end that deadlock. The Modi government has now proposed to the farmers that it's ready to actually put the execution of the farm laws on hold, and this will be by up to 18 months. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said that the centre is ready to go ahead and form a committee for talks. The minister has also said that farmers have told the government that they would revert tomorrow to the government on whether they're okay with this condition. The 10th round of talks has come essentially as a relief for the government because the previous 9 rounds with farmer leaders yielded little or no result or any success at all. Remember that the farmers have demanded a complete rollback, a repeal of the 3 farm laws, and have decided to also take out a tractor rally on Republic Day.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कुछ अल्प समय के लिए कृषि सुधार कानूनों को स्थगित किया है। क्रियान्वयन कुछ दिनों तक नहीं हो सकेगा, लेकिन पूर्व में भी और आज भी हमने विस्तार पूर्वक उन्हें कहा कि कानूनों पर विचार करना है और आंदोलन से जुड़े विभिन्न पहलुओं पर विचार करना है, तो निश्चित रूप से समय तो चाहिए। 1-1.5 साल तक भी कानून के क्रियान्वयन को स्थगित करने के लिए सहमत है।
And days after the NIA began its probe into the Seek for Justice case and summoned nearly 40 people, they were associated with the farmer protest. Farmers up in arms raised this matter with the centre during round 10 of talks. Here are all the latest updates.
Farmers defy the National Investigation Agency. Days after the country's anti-terror probe agency issued summons to 40 people over alleged links to Khalistani separatists, most have defied the NIA's call. The NIA, acting on an FIR filed in December last year, has questioned over 15 people so far. The summoned include actor-activist Deep Sidhu and farmer leader Baldev Sirsa.
एक तरफ तो हमारे को बदनाम करने के लिए कभी कहते हैं नक्सलाइट हैं, ये माओवादी हैं, ये पाकिस्तान से पाकिस्तान चला रहा है, इनको चाइना चला रहा है, कभी कह दिया ये कांग्रेसी हैं, कभी कह दिया ये अकाली हैं, बदनाम कर रहे हैं और उसके बाद ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट का भी सहारा लेते हैं।
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.